We begin with breaking news in Birmingham tonight. Developing news in Lincoln. That's where searchers found the body of a woman in a creek.
Good evening, I'm Honora Gathings. Jasper firefighters are trying to put out a fire at Green Top Barbecue.
We begin Focus at 4 today with breaking news out of Tuscaloosa County. Alabama Power confirms one of two people killed in the helicopter crash worked for the utility company. The night team Sherry Evans joins us. And Sherry, how is this business able to continue operating right now?
A warning tonight from an East Alabama sheriff. Electronic gambling is illegal and violators could face prosecution.
Well, Ed, up until now, how many drivers were caught not stopping? You took a gamble that Tuesday we were not going to see any kind of precipitation, and we didn't. Good job, Brian. 2-2-2. Good luck.
You just let that play the whole time.
I know. It might be a little early to get into the Christmas season.
Yeah.
Halloween hasn't come yet, but I have to say, I kind of like the music. It's nice and relaxing.
You know, we should just play low bed music during the whole weather. We could just mix it up every day.
But, you know,
we're
talking about White Christmas. We don't have to worry about any kind of precipitation, though.
Right. Not anytime soon. That's right.
Ugly Christmas sweaters are fortunately making a comeback, and apparently this sheep in Omaha, Nebraska got wind of that, and check out this sweater. Focus at 4's Edward Birch joins us now, and Ed, this goes completely against the trend that we were seeing a few years ago. What's going on?
Well, the Alabama lawmaker accused of perjury says he was telling the truth.
For the first time since January, Birmingham has an abortion clinic open for business.
The North Alabama high school student stabbed at school is recovering after having a kidney removed.
The National Transportation Safety Board is now on the scene of that fatal helicopter crash in Tuscaloosa County. Second suspect did run from the scene, and that has prompted, as Wendell mentioned a few moments ago, two nearby elementary schools, including WJ Christian, to go on lockdown. Now, we believe that search is still underway in the Shady Lane area of Roebuck, but right now you are seeing a live look at police standing there outside UAB Hospital, where the Birmingham police officer has been taken with what we've been told are serious injuries from being pistol whipped.
Well, nearly the entire state will be under a freeze warning tonight, so let's go ahead and check in with meteorologist Megan Thomas. And Megan, what can we expect?
This is a live look of what the roads look like now. You've got some snow over the ice, and this ice is super thick and very slick. And that's why we met another bus driver that pulled off 459 again with some Jefferson County school students.
With us right now, Governor, first off, congratulations on your win tonight. What did you think 4 minutes after the polls closed and you were declared the winner?
After 2 years of rumors and indictment, Toys R Us heard the message loud and clear. Parents don't want to see action figures from the hit show Breaking Bad on the shelves. One council member wants the city to form a task force to clear out the hallowed grounds. ABC 3340's Vinton Blandon is here, and Vinny, people with loved ones buried there are understandably upset about this.
Police and Jefferson County deputies are searching for a man who escaped from the Adamsville City Jail. We begin with a developing story in Bessemer. Investigators found a body in a pond. School bus drivers already can report drivers who illegally pass. What else is being done?
Now, to give you an idea of how violent the storm in Kimberly was, this concrete pole, well, it was dragged several yards before the metal piece became embedded in the side of this pickup truck. Well, you've heard of babies born on the side of the road, but what about up in the sky? An 86-year-old Utah woman just penned her first book, and it's a little hot.
Okay, Pam, show off your guns. How many pull-ups? Oh, look at that. How many pull-ups do you think you could do in one day?
The Statue of Liberty is on Twitter and on Facebook. Wonder if she
no
has
Instagram account.
No
yet.
Instagram, but do you think she'd have some good anti-aging tips? I mean, 128.
Probably so. Those are actually on her Pinterest wall.
Or how to hold, I mean, her arm has to be pretty strong, 128 years.
Well, Governor, first off, congratulations on your win tonight. What did you think 4 minutes after the polls closed and you were declared the winner?
Well, actually, we weren't prepared yet. I'm very humbled about that.
Well, they certainly did rehire you. You said in your speech that you plan on re-earning every Alabamian's respect over the next 4 years. How do you hope to accomplish that?
Well, we're going to continue to work hard. It is only to try to better the lives of the people of this state.
2 years ago, you had two big campaign promises. One, to add more jobs to the state, and two, not to take a paycheck until the unemployment was down to 5.2%. I checked. You've obviously done both. How hard was it to keep to those promises?
Well, we're going to continue to keep that promises, and so, we're going to continue to work on that.
What kind of legacy do you find when you leave office in 4 years?
I want the people to remember me as a governor who loved them.
Well, thank you so much, Governor. We really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on your win. Well, you heard it from the governor. He's very much humbled and appreciative of all the support that he's continued to get from Alabamians.
Well, Dave, dispatchers say 80% of 911 calls are made from cell phones, and 70% of those calls go to the wrong dispatcher. It happened to me. I was in an accident in front of the zoo sign in Birmingham, but my 911 call went to Homewood, Mountain Brook, then Birmingham. 911 directors say those delays can cause problems.
Mountain Brook 911. I was just rear-ended outside of the Birmingham Zoo.
For the next minute, I gave the dispatcher details and answered questions. It was the same information I'd already given to Homewood, and
I'm going to transfer you to Birmingham. Hold on.
You have reached Birmingham Police 911.
after waiting on hold, I told the story a third time. Birmingham even tried to send my call back to Mountain Brook. Nearly 7 minutes passed before police were dispatched.
The way that the technology works, whether it's GPS based or whether it's based off triangulation, causes us problems.
Birmingham Dispatch 911 Director Greg Silas explains not every cell provider includes GPS coordinates in 911 calls. As a result, he says only 30% of emergency cell phone calls are immediately sent to the correct dispatch center.
Sometimes you end up in a city other than where you're really located, because the tower may be a half a mile away and there's several jurisdictions between you and that tower.
November 2008, there was jurisdiction confusion at this fiery crash on I-459 near 280. Victims waited for help for nearly half an hour. There was a push then for a consolidated 911 center for Jefferson County. It went online in October. Only 18 of 34 cities signed on, and there are still issues. Jefferson County E911 Director Howard Summerford says dispatchers still must figure out what jurisdiction a call is coming from so the dispatchers can call the appropriate police or fire department to send help.
Our folks get frustrated.
Summerford showed us a map. The green areas are covered by the center. Notice the isolated areas surrounded by other jurisdictions? Those are problems.
It doesn't necessarily tell us which first responders to dispatch. That creates a little delay.
And 911 dispatchers say 80% of callers don't know where they are. They say callers need to provide good, accurate location information.
I am in Mountain Brook, or I am in Birmingham, and then give the address.
Like Birmingham and other larger cities, Mountain Brook isn't part of the Jefferson County E911. But Police Chief Ted Cook says special signs are placed at schools and parks, particularly ones neighboring other cities. There's a 7-digit number for people in Mountain Brook to call for help and even a location code. It sends them directly to dispatch.
They're excited, they're scared, they're disoriented, and sometimes they just don't know where they're at.
Change is coming. The FCC is requiring cell phone providers to provide better emergency information in the future. And Silas says dispatch centers in Jefferson County could come together in the next few years. Everyone wouldn't be under the same roof. They'd just be using software to immediately share information with centers in other jurisdictions.
If one dispatcher takes your information, they're able to pass that information to a dispatcher in another location without you having to tell the story all over again. And when you consider that in a life and death situation, sometimes 5 or 6 minutes is the difference between life and death.
Well, dispatchers told us some cell phone providers currently provide GPS information. To find out if yours does, ask your provider what information is passed along to 911.
Where I was born.
Anne Marie Adams took a drive through her Smithfield neighborhood.
That very top floor up there, they kind of had that shut off. And we would be afraid to go up there because we thought the house was haunted.
Childhood on the Hill was far from simple. Her father had their first racism talk on the way to kindergarten.
You're going to be even more rejected because of your color. He said, whites are not going to like you because you have black blood. Blacks are not going to like you because you are light skinned.
In the 50s and 60s, there were rules.
Once the sun went down, everybody went in.
The city had an ordinance on its books preventing black families from moving onto the west side of Center Street. When they did, their houses were often burned and bombed. Civil rights attorney Arthur Shore's house was the target of multiple bombings, especially after he took the issue to court and changed zoning laws.
Vibration from the dynamite would actually put cracks in your walls.
Even young Oscar Adams, son of the civil rights attorney and first black state Supreme Court justice, remembers the 24-hour watches.
People that would do night watches and ride around in the neighborhood at night to make sure no dynamite was put on their houses. So that was a little scary.
Sometimes that was successful and sometimes it wasn't. Actually, a black family built a home on this property, and the night before they were supposed to move in, it was mysteriously burned.
Shore's daughter remembers the bombings and shootings at her house.
We had this routine to follow, you know, as the windows were shot out. You get on the floor and you crawl to a safe place. And it angered me more than anything else.
She and her sister armed themselves.
She was a majorette, so she slept with her baton under her pillow. And I slept with the Colt 45 under mine.
Shore's house made headlines in August 1963, then again in September. That bombing injured Mrs. Shores. Adams was on her first date.
All of a sudden, my father and one of our neighbors came in the movie to get us out of there because there had been a bombing.
Thousands of people were in the streets and police were firing into the air.
We had to crawl up that alley and crawl through 3 yards to get to our house and actually crawl into the door.
The most terrifying bombing didn't even happen on Dynamite Hill. It killed 14-year-old Cynthia Wellesley.
Very last words I spoke to Cynthia, I said, "You be a good girl and you be here when I get back."
Adams was at college when her father helped identify the body at the 16th Street Baptist Church. But it didn't shatter the will of attorneys like Arthur Shores or Oscar Adams to fight segregation.
My father stood his ground. He said no, that this is where his work was.
One thing I loved about that man, he never left his people.
Their families never wanted to leave their roots. In Birmingham, Honora Gathings, ABC 3340.
But the family wants to ensure it's the last time one of their sleeping children is almost hit. Tonight, ABC 3340 is fighting for the family's safety.
Every town has them.
We've heard the tales of them hitting the house before we ever moved here.
But this tale took on a new chapter June 13th, a deadly one.
We didn't hear anything, no screeching, no engine revving, just smash, and it sounded like an explosion when it hit.
A car drove through the side of Jim Merle's Mumford house on McElderly Road, shearing off a walk-in closet, tearing out a water line, leaving nothing but nails behind.
Right on the other side of this, just the depth of the wall, was my 5-week-old's bassinet where she was sleeping.
Merle says he, his wife, and 2 of his other children were feet away.
It was very upsetting, you know, just to think of the possibilities what almost happened.
State troopers say the driver was drunk and charged with a DUI. 8 days earlier, another driver hit a tree in the yard.
We've seen at least 7 accidents out in front of the house. We've seen at least 4 come into the yard.
In most of those cases, drivers just drove away. The Talladega County engineer took a look at the stop near the house. He wouldn't go on camera, but he told us the reflective sign was tested. It worked, but was still replaced, and new panels were added to warn drivers of the dead end. Rumble strips will be added if the family is okay with the additional noise. But the engineer says a guardrail cannot be put up in front of the home. As he explained to us, guardrails are meant to protect people from obstacles under highway standards. But in this case, the guardrail would become an obstacle, and that could lower the county's road grade and cost it funding. The family just wants to live to tell their tale.
We're better than that, but then we're going to do what we do.
The county says it will make these initial changes, but if drivers continue crashing on the property, you'll have to tap into funding to find another solution. Now, as for the family, the damage estimate is around $33,000. They plan to start rebuilding soon. And if you have a problem you'd like me to look into, send an email to fightingforyou@abc3340.com or call 205-783-5550.